Do you ever stand in front of a menu with 100 options and feel your heart race, knowing you just wanted a simple meal? You sit down to pick a movie, open 5 tabs on your phone, and suddenly 2 hours have slipped away, and you're no closer to making a choice. This isn't a flaw in your character, it's the hidden paradox of freedom. As your options multiply, your mind tires, your anxiety spikes, and the simple act of choosing becomes an overwhelming trap. In this video, you'll discover why infinite options actually shrink your sense of satisfaction, and how ancient philosophers and modern psychologists both warn us that more isn't always better. We'll explore the cognitive roots of decision fatigue, see why you feel paralyzed by potential, and reveal the surprising truth that limiting your freedom can unlock your power. By the end, you'll have a practical toolkit to cut through the noise, reclaim clarity, and choose with confidence, so you can spend less time deciding and more time doing. Imagine your mind as a processor that handles one task at a time, and every choice you face, whether it's selecting an outfit or deciding your next project, consumes a tiny slice of processing power. Psychologist Roy Baumeister calls this decision fatigue. With every extra option, your mental battery drains just a bit more, so by the time you reach your most important decisions, your ability to weigh pros and cons accurately has already diminished. Philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre reminded us that absolute freedom can feel like a burden because without guidelines, we're forced to define our own path at every moment, and that infinite freedom can paralyze our very will. When you open 20 different streaming apps to find something to watch, you aren't exercising freedom. You're trapped in a maze of possibilities that slows you down and makes you feel restless rather than satisfied. Dr. Sheena Iyengar's famous jam study found that shoppers faced with 24 jam flavors were 10 times less likely to buy any than those offered only 6 flavors. This experiment reveals the counterintuitive truth at the heart of the paradox. More choice can mean less action and less joy. Recognizing this as a natural, science-backed phenomenon is the first step toward reclaiming your clarity. You're not lazy or indecisive. You're human, built to optimize around a finite cognitive budget. By understanding how decision fatigue and the burden of freedom affect you, you can begin to see why you feel stuck in trivial loops and how you can rewire your environment and habits to conserve mental energy for the decisions that truly matter. When you find yourself agonizing over every detail, comparing dozens of apartment listings, testing 5 different draft titles for your blog post, or endlessly scrolling through fashion apps, you're likely embodying the maximizer mindset. You believe that the perfect choice exists and that it's your job to find it. In contrast, Satisficers set clear criteria. This phone needs a good camera and long battery life, and pick the first option that meets those needs before moving on. Research shows maximizers report lower satisfaction, higher regret, and more anxiety because they constantly wonder if a better alternative was just one click away. Imagine walking into an all-you-can-eat buffet where every dish looks amazing. A maximizer hovers at the counter sampling a bit of everything but never sits down, while a Satisficer picks 3 favorite dishes and enjoys the meal. That buffet of choices is exactly how your brain perceives modern life, an overwhelming smorgasbord of options. Another hidden culprit is opportunity cost bias. Whenever you choose A, you mentally subtract the potential benefits of B, C, and D, magnifying your sense of loss. Philosophers like Seneca warned that freedom without focus can feel like being standing in a sea without a shore, adrift and unsure where to swim. By recognizing whether you lean toward maximizing or satisficing and understanding how opportunity cost warps your enjoyment, you'll see that the real power lies not in infinite freedom, but in intentional limitation. Armed with this insight, you're ready to build your personal toolkit. Deliberate constraints that preserve mental energy, sharpen your decisions, and free you from the trap of endless comparison. In the next segment, you'll learn 3 practical techniques to redefine your freedom and transform choice into a catalyst for action. First, give yourself a choice limit. When you sit down to decide, pick a small, manageable number of options, 3 restaurants, 2 book genres, 1 hour of work, and commit to choosing only from that short list. Think of it like narrowing the color palette before you start painting. By reducing the hues, you actually free your creativity instead of overwhelming it. Next, use precommitment to offload the decision burden. Schedule a decision time on your calendar or set a single default option for low-stakes choices, your morning smoothie, your go-to workout, the email template you always use, and let your future self follow that plan automatically. By creating these mental guardrails, you preserve your willpower for the moments that matter most, so you're not exhausted by trivial decisions. Finally, cultivate an if-then mindset by forging clear decision rules in advance. For example, if it's after 6 p.m., then you go for a walk instead of scrolling through apps, or if you've already eaten lunch, then you skip the 5th snack break. These simple conditional plans act like personal algorithms, routing you around the temptation of endless options and saving your mental energy for creative, meaningful choices. To reinforce these habits, try a brief end-of-day reflection. Write down one decision you made that left you feeling empowered and one that drained you, then tweak your rules accordingly. Over time, you'll begin to notice patterns. Perhaps you default to decision paralysis when tired, or you regret choices made in haste. And you can refine your toolkit to anticipate and neutralize those traps. Remember, you're not striving to eliminate freedom, you're harnessing it with intention. By narrowing your focus, pre-committing to defaults, and scripting your decisions with if-then plans, you transform choice from a burden into a compass guiding you toward your goals. Next, let's pull all these tools together into a simple routine that you can start using today, so you can step out of the maze of endless options and back into the flow of purposeful action. Now, imagine starting each morning with a 5-minute choice audit. Glance at your calendar, pick 3 core priorities, and set a simple rule for each. If a new option arises that doesn't serve one of those priorities, you'll defer it to tomorrow's audit. During the day, lean on your pre-committed defaults, the playlist you always use for focus, the recipe you rotate through for lunch, the walking route you predetermined for breaks. When evening comes, take 2 minutes to jot down one decision that energized you and one that felt draining, then adjust your rules, perhaps tightening your shortlist or adding a new if-then plan to guard against temptation. Over a week, you'll notice you're spending less time in decision limbo and more time in a state of flow where action and creativity thrive. This isn't about depriving yourself of freedom. It's about sculpting your options so they support your goals and happiness. As Seneca might say, it is the power of the mind to be unconstrained by circumstances, and by mastering your choices, you reclaim that power every single day. If you found this toolkit helpful, hit like to let us know, share with someone who's overwhelmed by options, and subscribe to Mind Unlocked for more science-backed strategies to sharpen your thinking and unlock your best self.